Good morning. Maybe you can hear my voice as I start to talk to you, but I have had COVID. I've only had COVID once before, I think, as far as I remember. This was it last summer or the summer before? I don't know. Well, in the 4 years of COVID existing, I've had it twice. This is my second time of having it as far as I know. And I pretty quickly knew it was COVID just because of the feeling of it. I don't know. I feel like after a couple of days, I was like, wait, this really doesn't feel like a cold. This feels like what I remember COVID to be like. Really annoying. So it's my mum's birthday today and I was supposed to be cooking her a lovely meal, but obviously can't do that anymore, which I'm really sad about, and I can't see her on her birthday. But we'll postpone that and hopefully I'll feel better by the weekend. I think I've passed it on to my friend accidentally because last Wednesday I was doing that shoot that I shared with you and had a barbecue with my family, felt fine. Thankfully none of my family feel ill right now, so I don't think they've caught it from me. Maybe because we were outside, but I was with my friend all day inside and she's just tested positive for COVID. I felt literally fine on Wednesday and so did Alex. I think maybe Alex had a sniffle. He was like, maybe had a little bit of a sore throat, but nothing to like notice, only notice in hindsight. And then the next day I woke up and I felt so ill. I was so knocked back and like, yeah, that kind of achy fever feeling. And then just, yeah, obviously had to just switch off the next few days and try and recover. And I feel pretty fine now. Like it's Monday, I feel like I've just got a cold now. I feel fine. Just feel a bit tired, a bit sniffly, a bit like I've got a bit of a cough. So this week I'm gonna take it easy. I do have to get back to work. It's like so typical. Always happens when you go on holiday. I don't know where I would have caught it from though. I don't think it would be from the holiday because we came back a week before. So it has to be from somebody in Cornwall, like maybe at the shops or something, because no one in my family has had it. So who knows, you never know these things. Anyway, I've made myself a lovely little vegan omelette with onion and tomato, which is reminding me of Mallorca because I made this every day in Mallorca. Put a bit of paprika and chili flakes and it makes it go this lovely orange colour. And if you put loads of onion in there too, it's so delicious. I've got my Wild Nutrition. So I've got my ashwagandha, B12 and Iron Plus because it's my time of the month. I shared that in my last video. I do have a discount code with them. You get 50% off for the first 3 months. And I swear by Wild Nutrition supplements because they're food grown, which is all the difference because they're not synthetic. So you can actually take them without food. Synthetic supplements, I always have to like kind of take at the end of the day because even if I take them with breakfast, it can make me feel a bit sick because I've not got enough food in my tummy. So it's really nice knowing that you can just take them whenever because they don't make me feel sick like that. I'm really getting into reading. This always happens though when I go on holiday. I come home and I'm like, I'm so in love with reading, but I really want to keep it up. Future Maddie, if you're not doing it, please get back into reading because it just brings me so much joy. So I finished A Court of Mist and Fury. I read Court of Thorns and Roses 2 years ago, and then I think that I just stopped reading. Maybe, I don't know, maybe work got busy. I have no memory, but I remember I read a few chapters, loved it, but then stopped reading it. So I picked it up again on holiday, just finished it, and oh my gosh, that was amazing. Better than the first book. Absolutely loved it. If you are struggling to read at the minute, and you like romance books, you like fantasy books, please check out A Court of Thorns and Roses, Sarah J Maas. Like this is not new. Obviously everyone and their mother is talking about it, but if you happen to have not read it yet or not heard it, or you've been thinking about reading it and not sure about it, definitely read it. It's so easy to read. It's so fun. Something about it reminds me of like when I first read like Harry Potter or even Hunger Games, because it's this whole new world that you're invited into. It can be a little bit cringe. Yes, it's not the most like highbrow reading, but I kind of like that. I kind of like books that just enable me to just get swept up in it, embrace the cringe, just enjoy the fantasy element. And I actually will say the way she describes the world that they're in is just lovely. I feel like I'm so swept up in that world and the different areas of the world and the way she describes it. It's so like, oh, I want to be there. I was saying to Alex that you love it when a book describes the rooms and the places they like sleep and eat in a really cozy way. She'll always describe these amazing like beds that she gets into. She'll have like a really cozy bath and get into amazing, sumptuous bed, and I'm just like, oh, makes me feel so cozy. But I'm now on to the next one, and my strategy. So I woke up this morning, I put my Apple Watch on, and this is so that I can get messages if they're important. It's telling me I've just had my update. So I can get messages or phone calls or whatever on my Apple Watch if I need them. But I don't have to take my phone around, because I've gotten into a really bad habit of dragging my phone around with me everywhere and spending way too much time on TikTok. So I'm going to take my Kindle around with me with my Apple Watch and see how much reading I get done. Because you know when you're like waiting for your coffee to brew, or you're waiting for your thing in the microwave, I can just open and read a couple pages of my book. This is turning into a bit of a mukbang. Off the back of what I was talking about in my last videos about my mental health and about going on holiday and sort of switching off and really trying to take care of myself, this weekend was an interesting one for me, because for a while with work I had been just working 7 days a week but not being productive during those days, and on holiday I decided I definitely need 100% days off. Again, I used to do this as a strict rule and it just disappeared somehow. So this weekend I just completely took off. No filming. No, this needs to be done because it's productive. I almost was a bit lost at what to do with myself, to be honest with you, which I really was a wake-up call for me, because I obviously couldn't see anybody because I had COVID, so I had no plans, and I had to stay at home, and I had nothing to do, and I had no work to do, and I was like, well, what do I do then? So I obviously read a lot. I baked a banana bread. I spent time with Alex. We watched the Hunger Games prequel and then the first 2 movies across the weekend, and I walked Roxy, and I just did nice things, and it made me realise how much I need that, because I feel refreshed now, and I was really happy this weekend. I was feeling really like positive. I didn't have many like bad mental health periods, or I didn't have those. Sometimes I get into these periods where I have lots of like rumination. Didn't have much of that. So if you have been overworking yourself and not giving yourself breaks, even if you work a 9-to-5 job through the week and at the weekend, you give yourself loads of tasks to do. Obviously there's things everyone has to do. You have to tidy up, you have to do things, obviously. But I mean, like, have you given yourself time off, like allocated time off? Fine if you need to be productive on a Sunday, but like, do you give yourself Saturday to not do anything? Because it's really, I just think it's, I don't know what happened to me. I've just not been doing that. So that was wonderful. And so it made me feel very grateful for my job too, because I thought, you know what, why am I pressurising myself at the weekends to film and do the stuff at the weekends when I'm so lucky. Like, I'm just, I don't know, this is something that depression takes from you as well, and anxiety. I'm so lucky that my job literally enables me to, during the week, pick up a camera and go do nice things and film it. Like, I pinch myself how amazing that is. I can wake up one morning, edit a video, and then be like, I'm just gonna go somewhere nice and beautiful in Cornwall, film it, and that is work. Or I can garden for the day, and that can be filmed, and that is work. I can do a DIY project, like a renovation project. I was looking in the hallway thinking, when it gets a bit colder, I can paint the skirting and the doors. I can do that during the week and film it, and it's my job. I'm very lucky, and I was not focusing on that. I was focusing on the lack over being grateful. So I'm going to be really strict about this. You are not going to be there with me on the weekends anymore, unfortunately. It's going to be Monday to Friday, and I'm going to do lots of lovely things with you when I'm able, when I'm not got COVID anymore. And I'm going to have the weekends off, and I'll tell you what I got up to at the weekend. So this week I don't have much planned because I've got COVID. But hopefully by the end of the week I won't be testing positive anymore. I've got a come dine with me thing with my friends this weekend, and the rest of the week is pretty empty, so I have freedom to do whatever. I think tomorrow, if it's nice weather, me and Alex might do the garden, so we can garden with you all day long, which will be cute. And we need to trim the wisteria pretty badly, and yeah, lots of things to do. So that's kind of on my mind, that I want to do that this week. I was even thinking this weekend, because a couple of you mentioned really randomly on one video, I didn't even mention it, but 2 of you mentioned that I should pick up art again and painting. Maybe I did mention it recently, but I used to paint, I used to do art. I did history of art at university, and that's been removed from my world a bit. And I think I'm gonna ask my mum if I can borrow some of her paint, because she does art and crafts as a hobby. She's got an Etsy, I'll link it, she sells cards. But I might ask her if I can borrow some watercolours and start painting again at the weekends, because I love painting and I haven't done it in a very long time. I used to spend all my time drawing and painting when I was young, so that's a new hobby I'm going to give a go. Stay tuned for that. I'll let you know how I got on. Anyway, I've talked for 12 minutes. Welcome to the vlog. Gonna finish my omelette, and then today I've got work to do. I'm gonna sit on my I'm gonna make like a nice little cozy setup in the living room because I don't really want to sit next door in the office on a proper chair. I'm gonna go upstairs, wash my face, get dressed, and get a cozy setup going and get on with my work. Had a productive morning of work, doing a bit of a sort of strategy, content analysis, which makes me feel good, makes me feel motivated. And I'm just reheating up some soup I made yesterday. It's kind of like just like a ramen with some dumplings. These are the Itsu ones. I'll microwave those or heat them up separately. And I'm taking proper breaks, having more structure with my life. This will really help, I think, to feel good. So I'm having an hour lunch. I'll read my book instead of watching TV because I just can't get enough of this series, and then get back into some solid work until 5. I really just want to get better now because I really want to go do nice things, but I might at 5 o'clock take Roxy for a really long walk and listen to an audiobook. I downloaded Sapiens. I read it like years ago, but I don't know if I've ever finished it. But please could you recommend me your favourite audiobooks, because some books don't work for an audiobook and some are better, so let me know your favourites. I might have a little browse actually at lunchtime to see if there's any that I could download, because I want to have a really good one that I'm listening to as well. Let's have some yummy lunch. I made this banana bread yesterday. I'll link the recipe. I also do have a recipe in my Basics of Bread ebook, but this was really delicious, so I'm going to cut myself a slice for pudding and have it with my coffee, and I'm going to read until 2 o'clock. Right there on the window seat, because this is my new habit. Ignore the very loud coffee machine. You need to go all the way to the top. I will not be running to join them. We've had a very productive day today, and now we're out for a walk. I said to Alex, do you want to go for a nice walk to decompress? We usually go on walks separately, but I think it'd be nice to do this on a Monday, because Mondays are like very laptop heavy. It's nice to just outside at the end of the day. Whoa! In true me fashion, I have started cooking and didn't pick up the camera to vlog, but I can tell you what I put in. So we've got this gorgeous green sauce. It has a whole bag of spinach in there, along with cashews and nutritional yeast, lemon juice, garlic, mustard, salt. Basically kind of like my 10-minute mac and cheese from my cookbook. Slightly sort of less ingredients. I took out some of the spices. And this is kind of based on Melissa Hemsley's recipe. She's got like a green pasta recipe. I put some peas in there as well. And the idea is that you just throw in loads of green vegetables, so things that don't need cooking, so things like peas and spinach, or don't need cooking for very long. And then throw in, like, realistically just a handful of cashews, along with nutritional yeast for that cheesy flavour. and then whatever seasoning. So I love to add lemon and salt and pepper because it always brings out those flavours. But I also added in mustard, basil and parsley just for some extra flavour too. And then you just whip it in some pasta, and it's really, really wonderful if you're someone who doesn't like vegetables or you have children who don't like vegetables. This is a great one. So we've got this really nice pasta. It's like mini rigatoni. So we're gonna have that for dinner. And I'm excited, I'm really, really hungry. It's just pasta done. I think it is. Good morning, it is Tuesday and I've just had a bit of a coughing fit because COVID is still kicking my ass. But I'm making myself a smoothie and I've got my omelette cooking over here. I'm doing a shallot and tomato omelette, vegan omelette with chickpea flour, recipe in my cookbook. And I'm making a smoothie with it because all the stuff I was talking about recently with my mental health feeling a bit down, I had noticed that some food noise had creeped back into my mind, so trigger warning to my food. But I had started to kind of be a bit restrictive and be a bit like, oh, I shouldn't have this or I shouldn't have that, or that's too much, which are thoughts that I don't typically have because I've done a lot of work, and then kind of overeating at other times. And yeah, that's had happened as a result of me feeling quite anxious and depressed. So I'm making an active effort. If you are someone who has been, you know, overcome a lot of eating problems and you notice that food noise creeping back in or those voices creeping back in, be aware of them because you don't actually have to pay attention to them. You can just go, oh, that's interesting, why am I having that thought? Kind of just sort of say to yourself, okay, that's interesting that you think that, but I've got it sorted. That's something my therapist taught me. I just noticed those thoughts were coming in, which I was a bit like, where are they coming from? And to counteract it, I'm trying to eat a little bit more because I thought maybe they're coming from a place of me actually just being hungry, and that's why I'm sometimes not eating enough and then sometimes eating too much. So I'm trying to have a smoothie with my omelette because I just think that the omelette alone, because sometimes in the morning I'm not that hungry, isn't enough. And I'm being very vulnerable sharing that with you because I know that like me sharing some of my mental health stuff recently has been quite helpful for you. And when I opened up about, I did like a Q&A where I spoke about my weight gain recently, it really resonated. So I'm trying to make more of an effort to be honest with you about these thoughts and feelings surrounding food and anything like this as they come up and what I'm doing, because maybe it will help you to feel strong. Though we overcome things and we recover from things like eating disorders, it doesn't mean those thoughts don't sometimes pop back up. Same as any other mental health problem. You could have depression once when you're younger and then it could pop back up again. Doesn't mean it has to take over. It just means you can just be aware of it and go, okay, why is that coming back up? Why am I thinking those things? I know for me, it's like I said, it's because I've felt depressed and anxious recently. I feel quite self-conscious in my body. So those thoughts can naturally appear. And so I'm just going, you know what? I'm gonna have a nice big smoothie because maybe I'm just hungry. So I thought I'd show you my smoothie, and of course now the battery is flashing at me, so we'll see how far we get. But I'm making it for me and Alex. So I'm gonna do a banana each. Also, I haven't been having enough fruit. Definitely have not been having enough fruit. My Wild Nutrition protein powder, I'm gonna get my supplements out at the same time as well. So this is the protein powder I've been using. This is their organic protein and superfood powder. I have got a discount with them. I think I mentioned this yesterday. I'll leave it linked below so you get 50% off. So I'm gonna do 2 heaped spoonfuls. We really need to go shopping. Well, I need to do a like an online order because I can't actually physically go to the shops until I test negative. Nice. So do a box of those organic berries and then some yogurt. I've got some vegan yogurt from the other day when I was making stuff for my barbecue. And it's all about viewing food as like something that, I don't know, food is something to feed yourself with, not to like restrict, but like to add. So I'm adding ingredients that are good for me. I know that yogurt's got lovely good fats in it, so it's all these things like I'm adding to my life. I'm not taking away, and I think if you do that, it changes your perspective on food. This is quite a nice and simple smoothie. I'm just going to blend that. Oh, I actually might. Oh my god, this is my life. I'm going to keep this blender out from now on. I put it underneath because I wasn't having smoothies really very much, but I think I'm going to keep it on the counter because doing that every day stops me from actually having a smoothie, to be honest with you. That colour is absolutely gorge. Hopefully this is going to taste like a really yummy yoghurt. There's usually just like a little bit too much for these glasses, so I'll come and top it up afterwards. Unreal. And obviously a smoothie is like a snack. That's another thing to point out. I know that sometimes you see people, I've been seeing an increase on TikTok and Instagram of quite toxic like food behaviours and what I eat in a day. So if you see those, ignore them. A smoothie definitely is more of a snack. What I'm saying about this is that it's adding extra satiety to my omelette, because the protein powder makes me feel full. It's got lots of supplements in there. Berries, obviously they're really good for you. Yogurts, it's just going to make me feel more full, more satiated. I was just noticing that by lunchtime I was pretty ravenous. So if you've been feeling that way too, and be kind to me, because like you forget how vulnerable it is online to share these kinds of things, and people start to accuse you of stuff. Here I am at my computer. Sorry, laptop. I am trying to sort my life out. I'm trying to sort my life out with recent feelings and my brain, and we're doing this together. If you're experiencing the same, we're doing it together. And I had mentioned in the last video where I spoke about this when I came home from holiday, that it's really funny that you have all these things in place. I had so many things in place, like the gym, like walking Roxy, like my gratitude journaling, like my planner. All of those things were in place, and I had put them in place over the years. I'd developed these kind of systems to make myself feel good and be productive and stay on top of life, stay on top of my health in general. And they had slowly slipped away. When you end up with depression or anxiety, those things can just get forgotten because I guess low energy things or low effort things replace them, or things that give you that dopamine hit. So like scrolling on your phone, or staying up late watching TV, or skipping a workout. Those things become a lot easier when you have those problems. And so all the things that were keeping you afloat before, which you kind of got used to and just became part of your daily routine, they slowly just slip through the cracks and disappear. And that's what happened to me without me even realising it. So I'd stopped going to the gym, made Alex walk Roxy a lot more than I was. I had stopped doing my daily planner, and I just had like a really simple to-do list on my phone. And just various things had just kind of disappeared. I'd stopped reading, I'd start taking my phone to bed, I'd start scrolling on TikTok. I just wasn't paying attention to my well-being. After going on holiday, which has just really given me a new perspective, if you are feeling this way, give yourself a break. If you can't afford to go on holiday or you don't have time for it, give yourself an entire weekend where you cancel all your plans, don't see anybody, carve out time. And if you have holiday at work or anything, then try and take a long weekend, maybe do like a Friday to Sunday, or a long weekend if that's your work schedule, and carve out a whole weekend where you have nothing to do, nobody to see, maybe unless you live with your partner or somebody, and just exclusively do things that you want to do. So relax, lie in bed, read a book, watch, maybe don't watch TV. I feel like TV and phones just don't make you feel good, so maybe don't do that. But yeah, read a book, lie out in the garden, go for a nice meal, cook and bake, do the things that bring you joy. So like paint, but nothing to do with work, nothing to do with being productive, nothing to do with to-do lists, nothing like that. Give yourself a break and then see how you feel when you come back from that break. And I imagine you'll probably feel a lot better in your perspective, because I do. And so this morning, well, yesterday, I basically downloaded Grace Beverley's The Productivity Method on Notion. I had used her notepad before and it was great and I've recommended it. But I wanted to have everything streamlined in one place, and it's kind of like the next step, I suppose, having it on your computer, because all of my stuff is on my computer for work. I use like Google Calendar, Trello, And so I downloaded it yesterday and it's really great. I mean, I've never used Notion before, so I'm sure that this will be like a stepping stone, and maybe there's other planners that I can use in the future. But I thought it was the best way for me to learn how it works, basically. So it's kind of like a planner, to-do list sort of thing. And it was really wonderful actually as a practice yesterday. So maybe you could download this too. I'll leave a link, or just follow this kind of idea. It has yearly goals, monthly goals, weekly planning and daily planning. So I filled that out, and that's as it says on the tin. So yearly goals are stuff like your personal development, your relationships, finances, career, business, attitude and mindset, and health. You can do this on a big piece of paper as well and brainstorm. So for example, personal development, I want to read 20 books, because reading right now is really like, I don't know, it's on my mind as something that really helps me. I put following this new productivity planner. So let's see how this goes for this year. I have career goals, like I really want to hit 100,000 on TikTok and Instagram. I want to build a consistent content plan for all of these platforms. I had a strategy meeting with my sister and brother-in-law yesterday, because they work with me doing management and content creation. So that's really positive. I've got some revenue goals for the business. And then things like health, I've like build a regular exercise routine, because that's disappeared. I've put get mental health diagnosis and support. I've mentioned this to you when I opened up about what I've been going through and how I'm actually going to seek out proper help from a doctor, potentially medication and a diagnosis, so I can actually like give myself a break, because I haven't done that before. I've only ever like I've gone to therapy, but I haven't actually gone down the path of figuring out what is it that I'm dealing with, and is medication an answer for me. Attitude and mindset, I've got stuff like weekends and evenings off for proper relaxation. Gratitude, stuff like in my relationships, I've said to start new hobbies to build new friendships, because I know that having new hobbies is a really important way to actually switch off. So things like yoga, painting, community projects. So jot down your yearly goals. This can really help you get perspective on what you want, and you don't have to make it lengthy. I think I've only got like 3 or 4 for all those things, and I bet you on Pinterest, if you don't want to spend money on this, I mean, there will be loads of free guides for this, like yearly goals, monthly goals. And then it's exactly the same for monthly goals. So you look at your yearly goals and then you just apply them to this month. So you kind of go more specific. So like I mentioned about reading, this month I'm going to read 2 books. So I want to finish the book I'm reading, I always forget the names. It's A Court of Wings and Ruin. Finish that. I'm literally racing through it. I'm already 100 or 200 pages in, I can't remember. And then I'm going to read the next one. I've put to borrow my mum's paints and start painting as like a hobby. Daily gratitude journaling, health, start a new weekly exercise routine. For career, business, I'm going to finish that content strategy. So you can see how you're looking at your yearly goals, and then you're applying them to what you can do this month to make that yearly goal happen. Feels really tangible, doesn't feel so daunting anymore. And then from there, you can then look at what you're doing this week. So my weekly plan, you just put week commencing, and this is broken down slightly differently, but it can be however you want it to be. So my main work goal for the week is to complete this content strategy. It's a big document that my sister created, going into detail about my brand and everything like that. So I want to finish it, because she's filled out and fleshed out a lot of it for me. But I obviously need to put my kind of input in there, and what I want to achieve and what I see the brand doing and what content I want to make. It can be overwhelming when you start doing this, because you're a bit like, whoa, how am I gonna do this when I wasn't doing this before? It's been a while since I was actually doing it in this detail, and I got a bit lost. So I'm just going to stay consistent with it and not be a perfectionist, because I was already looking at this and thinking, oh my God, I have to be perfect with this. I don't. There's so many planners out there. Look, this is not the only one. I'm not saying you have to get this. This is nice. I really like this one. This is good. I recommend it. But if you're in a funk, get yourself out of this funk by focusing on what you want in your life. Actually be honest with yourself. What is causing harm? What is making you feel better? And this does go through that too. Like that has even an about me, which I forgot to mention before you do all these goals. It has like an about me and a habit tracker. So the habits you want to keep, habits you want to break. It has an about me, and it's like basically what's getting in the way of your productivity, what's your dream morning routine, what techniques are working for you, what aren't. So you can analyze what you're doing in your life, and it's really, really clear, because this is not long either. For each question, there's only like a few lines. You can be very specific and be honest with yourself about the things you've been doing that potentially have not been helping you and why, and stop doing them. So for example, me taking my phone to bed, I had not done that for years. Like, I had got into such a good routine of never taking my phone to bed with me, and it just kind of disappeared. So that is something that had gotten in the way of my goals, and things like having too much on my to-do list. I just had a long list and it was a bit blurry and I was a bit overwhelmed. And then I've got what your top 5 motivations are. This is really important. I actually found this kind of challenging and confronting to think about, okay, what am I actually motivated by? What am I doing this for? Because when you feel down, it's a bit like, well, what's the point? So I realise the things that I want, and it's what's motivating me is vital, really, to actually feel good in life and in work. So things like building financial security for me and my family's future, helping people is probably one of my main motivations, whether it's with their mental health, whether they're learning to cook, to go vegan, to live more slowly and sustainably, to switch off and relax. This is escapism for a lot of you. And also I put to just enjoy my life and have the freedom to do what I want to do with my time. And if I'm not doing that, if I'm not enjoying my life, then what's the point? So this is really important. It's like, what is your motivation? And if that's not happening, then you need to reevaluate and kind of treat yourself like a bit of a robot, like kind of like take a step back and think, genuinely, if you're feeling this way, what is the point in what you're doing right now? What's the point in your work? No wonder you feel like that, because if you're working yourself into the ground, but you're not being productive and you're feeling overwhelmed, what's it all for? So this can be very helpful. And also talked about what things make you anxious. When do you find it hard to generate quality work? What do I wish I had more time to do? So this was very wonderful. I recommend you do a task like this. Sit down on a weekend, or if you work from home or you're self-employed, do it in a morning and just really pour all of your energy into this and reevaluate what's been going on with you. And I'm going to stick to this for the rest of this year, because I can do this each month, and it's really wonderful to do it every month because you can remind yourself. So things like what happened to me recently don't happen. I don't forget about the tasks that make me feel good. I don't forget about the things that I've been doing to help my mental health, because it's right there and it's easy to forget. And I have to remember that, I suppose when I was younger, I used to think that, like, oh, if you have a mental health problem, you go to the doctor and then it's over. But I just think that I struggle. This is just how my brain is. Some people don't, some people do. So I do need to have a practice like this. Other people don't need it. And maybe you are someone who doesn't need it. And I know other people who don't need this, but sometimes some people just need this kind of thing to keep themselves going and motivated and productive, and to feel on top of things and not let things just slide and you fall into this kind of negative place. So I'm going to stay on top of it. So my next job, I've basically done my plan for the day. Another thing that's really wonderful is that she breaks to-do lists down into projects and tasks. So projects are the big things you're working on. So for example, the project I was doing recently was redoing my website. That would be a project. And then you break it down into the little tasks so that it's feasible. So I'm going to add all the other projects I need to add. I added a couple yesterday, but I want to add any brand deals I've got as projects, because then there's like tasks in there. And then next week when we go through our content strategy, I'll have a content plan and I can add like all those kind of content pieces I want to work on to my projects. But it really helps to break it into pieces rather than just having a big to-do list. So that's what I'm going to do for the next half an hour. Sort out what projects I've got to be working on and break those down into the tasks. And then I'm going to do my content strategy for the rest of today. I think my sister did find this content strategy like it seems to be a template. I'll link that template, because if some of you are fellow content creators, this is really helpful. It's very easy when you're in the world and the sea of content creation that is that world now. It's huge. There's so many people doing it. You can easily get distracted and start kind of also get inspired and lost about where you sit or what your content should be. So it can really help to do this once a year or quarterly and reevaluate your strategy. You can do this on your own, or if you've got a manager, just look at your strategy, look at your content, and allow yourself to focus, because I've done this periodically and it always works. Anytime I do this and I actually focus on it and I execute it, I grow or something good happens or a goal I set for myself, I hit it. So make it practical and sit down and give yourself a strategy and a plan and evaluate what you want to do with your brand. So that's what I'm going to do today. We've got things on here that's very exciting. It really helps as well to analyse your business, because I don't see myself as like a businesswoman, but sometimes you have to realise that you actually are. I do run a business here, and it's important to look at the business and see what is or what isn't working. So let's get productive, people. It is such a beautiful day. I've just been sat here working, admiring my flowers. I think I showed you these recently, but I'm really happy with what I did with the planting because it seems to have worked. These roses are ready to burst again. This one, I ordered something online, a rose tonic to help with this black spot. I deadheaded him, so he might not bloom again, but you can see all the black spots, so I'm going to be consistent with spraying. There's a few gaps at the back because that's where like all the spring bulbs came through. I'm not going to plant any more this year because I'm really happy with the way it looks, but then next year we'll see how it fills out, if there are gaps that I can maybe, you know, fill for these sorts of months. Oh, it's windy. This is Zeus's sleeping spot. Can you see him? Hey, Susie? I need to pin him back. I think this is an aster. I need to pin him back onto the wall. I was going to get another wire. This rose is really happy. Hello, Susie. Anything cuter than a cat emerging from flowers. Yeah, this rose is really happy, and I'm wondering if it is actually a climbing rose, but I'm going to try and pin him to the guttering. And this one seems to be more like evenly spread, but it might just be because we've got the creeper here to fill out a lot of the space. But again, I think we just leave them this year and then next year see what could be added. I need to do some deadheading. But yeah, it's so nice. This wisteria desperately needs to be trimmed. It actually wasn't that windy when I was sitting out there, but I'm going to clear up my breakfast because I just got into work and forgot to clean up. So I'm clean up my breakfast, and I'll have leftovers from yesterday. There was loads of that green sauce left, so I'm going to cook some pasta for me and Alex. I think that seems like the most sensible lunch to have. I'm really like annoyed at myself. I didn't book a Sainsbury's slot, so I'm unsure what we're going to have for dinner. Is there enough? Yeah, I think that's enough. Maybe we could have a curry. Actually, yeah, we can definitely have a curry because we've got chickpeas. My content strategy planning went really well. I got loads done, but I have stopped now because it's quite difficult actually to reflect about yourself. And so I need to probably have the rest of that kind of overlooking it with Charlie and Dom, because it's really helpful to have an outside perspective, really giving me a lot of clarity. And if you want to leave any of your thoughts down below, if there are any bits of content that you love, the things that you don't love, so like just tell me. If you're on YouTube, obviously you love YouTube. What do you like in my vlogs? What don't you like in my vlogs? And be honest, don't be horrible, but don't be honest. Like, if there are any things that I talk about for too long, tell me. If you don't like me sitting and talking to the camera too much, if you prefer to see like more of what I'm doing, or if you just love the chats, please let me know. Give me a really good picture and hopefully confirm some of the things I've concluded. Or if you see someone's comment that you agree with, give it a thumbs up, because I want my content to be interesting and I don't want to be filming stuff that's not interesting to you. I'm definitely going to be doing more videos sharing Cornwall and specific projects I'm working on. I've got to do my 3-year renovating video for you, and yeah, more like specific videos about specific things and projects that we're working on at the house, or videos around, you know, what I'm eating that week or recipes, that kind of thing. So let me know what you love, what you don't love, And same for Instagram and TikTok. If you do use those platforms, feel free to let me know about those too. And I'm gonna make my lunch.
That counts as like,
Yeah,
that counts as new.
Yeah.
I've just started, absolutely love
Oh.
it. Wish I could play more than what. There we go.
She loves working out. On your TV or on your iPad? Oh, lovely. All right.
See you later.
This one ran away today, didn't you? Didn't you? You ran away. And now you want your dinner.